Heyo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another episode of Park Spotlight. Today we have an end-to-end mega park. We're looking at Carowinds Europe, created by kevsond, a subscriber and bronze patron. And here they say, hello Channel 5 gaming community, my name is Kevin. I'm also following the channel for 8 months now and watched like every daily of your content. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you so much. Carowinds Europe is planned for 3 months already. Hundreds of hours I invested in it here. The park has 7 themed areas. You join the park over the plaza directly behind the parking lot. Over 15 coasters, 11 major rides, 3 fillers, and 1 present kiddie coaster, 1 log flume, and a lot of flat rides which got individually placed over the park and some edited also. I used some of the workshop fluff, but I tried to make them look different, and at the Pink Paradise, I used 2 coaster landscapes, but changed the coaster itself. You guys are great. You make the game so much better. Thank you. You're very welcome, kevsond. And you're not showing up as a ranked member. So be sure to join Discord, fill out the new member form so we can get you ranked and in here. Yeah, currently you're just listed as a non-member. So let's get that fixed. And I also see you're showing up as a bronze patron. So thank you so much for your support. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive right on into the episode. Okay, bit of a doozy here. This one here today, as you can see, it's a very heavy. It's an end-to-end mega park. These are killers of the PC. This is very heavy duty. There's a lot of creativity gone in here though, so I want to try to feature it. For those of you who cannot bear the frame rate, my apologies. We'll try to take it as slow as we can, but unfortunately I am pressed for a little bit of time here. Speaking of which, just wanted to start a stopwatch. I'm gonna try to limit this one to an hour. I want to at least try to ride all the coasters and see those 7 areas as quick as much as possible, but not as quickly as possible. Obviously, we're fighting with the frame rate. We have an end-to-end mega park, and we would like to feature as much of the content here as possible. Links are always down in the description below if you guys want to download them and check them out for yourself. And here on the show, we try to show you everything as closely as possible, so you don't have to do that, as some of you guys don't have PCs or PCs good enough to run these amazing parks. But here we are at the entrance plaza area. This is looking phenomenal. So the reason I'm pressed for time, we had a power outage. Oh, Street Fox Coffee by Woody. This was a contest winner from one of our previous shop contests. And I was just speaking about this because at the time of this recording, earlier today, we had a similar creation, was the Fox Coffee, and it placed in the top 5 of the legend bracket, I want to say. So really cool. We were just talking about this creation on the live stream today. Speaking of the live stream, come check us out live, you guys, on Twitch. Twitch TV/Channel5Gaming. We are doing Planet Coaster every week or every other week, depending. We're bringing back a lot of fun stuff live on Twitch, so come follow us over there. But yes, I am pressed for time because we had a 14-hour power outage, which canceled our live stream, pushing it over to today. Today is where I do all of my recordings. And we have a big week with Outriders coming out and all this different stuff that I have to now do all my recordings here today. And at the time of this recording, it's already like 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. So I'm going to be up late, and that's just the beginning of my workload. So it's either I go a little bit faster today, instead of a 2-hour episode for something like this, we have to do 1. And it's either that or no parks at all. So it is what it is. We're still going to have a great time here today. We got Homer Simpson and the Moe's Bar. It looks like this creator has stuffed in a lot of blueprints from the workshop, because I'm already recognizing the Homer from a blueprint spotlight that we used to do a long time ago. And then obviously the Foxy Coffee shop. So it's kind of hard to tell what you built, and that's kind of the problem with these. If we were to rank you as a builder, we don't really know what you built here. And, you know, a lot of the stuff definitely looks taken from the workshop. So, with that, if you guys are getting crazy with your builds and stuff, like these mega parks, and you're using a lot of blueprints from the workshop, try to set yourself a little bit of a limit. Maybe instead of a 7-area theme park, maybe go for a 4-area theme park. While this is monumental and epic, we also, because you're taking a lot of that stuff from the workshop, it would probably be better if you scaled it down just a little bit. I know some people are like, oh, I'm recreating Cedar Point or Six Flags, and I need it to have everything that these parks have, and I'm going to build everything from scratch, and I'm not going to stop until I'm done. And we love featuring those, and we get to see it all. But here, when you're actually using blueprints and utilizing other people's creations to help you get there along the way, and just trying out your hand at building, it sometimes is a good idea to set yourself a limit, a constraint. There's a little something strange going on with the pathing here. I noticed it's a little bit floaty. So you're experimenting with pathing, you're experimenting with cues, and that's what I'm saying is that I don't think there's really a need to go this big when a lot of the stuff is your first time ever build. You're trying to fit shops in and do different things. Start small, start bite size. That way, you know, we can look at what you've done and try to provide some feedback. And you're not, you know, trying to overwhelm yourself and floating lights and all that. Like, there are definitely things that I'm noticing that can be improved, and it's going to be hard to comment on those things if we're seeing them pop up throughout the park. It looks like there's a lot of lighting. The park was set to nighttime by default. Holy good googly moogly. That is quite phenomenal. Okay, well, let's jump in the queue. There's not a whole lot to look at in this queue, unfortunately. Maybe. Do your business, wash your hands, cowboys. So it comes down here. Oh, that's for the flat ride. Or no, it's not. I'm crazy. I thought that was a swinging ship for some reason. Okay. Our first coaster of the day is going to be a launch torque coaster, a Copperhead Strike. There's the stats, 3,000 meters in length. Good googly moogly exploration coaster. Wow. There's a look at the G-forces and all that. Little bit high, but doable. Let's get on this. Boom! There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, okay, so I didn't realize there's like 300 guests in the park, and the one guy that gets on the freaking coaster, I didn't even realize it was just one person, or one lady, sorry. They're flailing arms in the way for a 3,000 meter track. Kind of horrendous. I will close down the future coasters before I get on them so we don't have that problem again. Well, one thing I want to say and touch on briefly, and I'm going to leave it at that. It's hard to give feedback or critique or suggestions based off of a 3,000 meter long coaster when there's 13 of them. That one looks just as big as Strata, beyond Strata heights. And you know, like this one, I could definitely see areas that I could just sit here and talk about for 5 minutes, improving banking, improving tweaks. We had this really weird sudden stop with a 30 to 40 second block section, and you know, it was very strange. I put it on fast forward to get through it, but there's just these little parts that could use a lot of refinement and polish. But once you start getting to these low frame rates, it begins to get, I can't speak today, sorry, it begins to get very difficult to smooth and bank and turn, and because you just have so much happening in this park. But to speak on that a little bit further, that's what you guys want. This is what you guys show up for. You want to see these crazy, wacky, wild creations, and this is certainly one of them. And it's really quite phenomenal what you pulled off here, regardless of how extreme it is or how unrealistic it might be. It's crazy, it's fun, it's creative, and it looks to me like you had a good time doing this, and we're gonna have a good time featuring it. So rather than focusing on the little nitpicky things like, oh, you can improve your pathing here, or you got some floating lights there, maybe you could smooth and bank your coasters here, I don't think you guys really care about that feedback. I've seen some of your comments from previous parks, and when they get this wild and crazy, you guys just want a wild and crazy time, and you don't really care. So we're just gonna go out and have fun. And you know, but with that said, I think there's one thing to say that okay, here we go. Coaster of Gods Titanium. There's one thing to say that if you just reeled it back to, you know, 6 or 7 coasters in 4 areas, at least we'd get 20 FPS, and it would be a little bit more tolerable for you, the creator, to work on it and still get like an end-to-end park, but not end-to-end to end. And therefore you can create some really good experiences nonetheless, with a slightly better frame rate and more sanity on your end. When it gets to smoothing coasters at 8 frames a second, you might not even have a rig as good as mine, which could mean you were working at 3 or 4 frames per second. It just gets very, very difficult. Like even when I click this, there's a little bit of delay between the menus popping up and stuff. It gets a little bit crazy. So we're closing this guy down. Oh, I'm actually going to delete the path as well, and that should give us an instant queue time. So Titanium, what do we have here? We have a prototype wing Tiamat, and there's a look at all the results if you guys want to see them, and we're going to jump right on this. Enjoy. Okay, there it is. What is the actual height on this? 100, wait, no, that's, max speed is 100 miles per hour, and the biggest drop is 131 meters. Good googly moogly. Now, I'm a little bit disappointed on this coaster because we went such a high lift, and we could see that lift from the distance as well. And I just thought this was going to go to just tremendous speeds, but we trim brake it the whole way down, and then trim brake it this whole way down, and then trim brake it again the whole way down here. So we went to the very top just to put the brakes on the whole way down. And, you know, a note to this creator, it is possible to get your coaster that high and still make the green across the board without trim brakes. But I can understand where you're struggling with that because you're trying to fit it into a certain area. You're going to need higher peaks. And, you know, one person to watch for this kind of insane, crazy coasters is Galcian BTH. He makes some of the highest, you know, 7,000 meter drop coasters, all rideable by the guests. And another way you can practice on these, and rather than doing a whole bunch of them in one park and then trying to fix them after with trim brakes and yada yada yada, is to compete in some of our planet coaster contests, such as like the exploration coaster contest. We have one going right now for the movie coaster contest. Is this a queue for something? I can't quite tell. I think it's an exit because there would be little things there. You know, shop placement and things like that in the plaza are a little bit off. I don't want to focus too much more on that, but more so the epic grandioso craziness that you've made in some of these areas. But, you know, people do submit these creations because they want some feedback. So I want to obviously point out a few things that I would improve here and there. So for me, that's going to be the path work, the floating lights, floating buildings and stuff like that. Definitely keep an eye on that. But I also find that it's very hard to start adjusting those things when you get to these frame rates. So, you know, my first advice would be to, when you're shooting for your bigger projects, or go for like half the size of the scope so that you can work within constraints a little bit, but also limit your frame rate. That's why participating in the contests such as the mini park contest, you could do some pretty gnarly stuff like what we see back here. We've seen people fit that into our 40x40 mini park contest. Some really gnarly stuff. The exploration coaster contest will get you practice in doing 3,000 meter long coasters that are G-force friendly, and you know, and then also with like the action coaster contest, we practice doing queues that are really friendly, that don't have, you know, presentable queues. So there's a lot of little things that you will pick up along the way by participating in Channel 5 gaming contests. And if you bring all those skills around and the feedback that we give you on those individual projects, you can bring that back around to a bigger project like this and make it a little bit more refined and clean. But this is still going to be a fun experience nonetheless, because there's so much going on here. So what do we have here? We have Into the Jungle, a winged launch cloud runner with green across the board as well. We are going to delete the paths so the guests get kicked off, and check out the stats on this coaster as it leaves. There it is, and we're getting on this. Wait, it's in stop mode and it's going. Interesting. Okay, let's relaunch it. We're gonna sit on the left wing. Let's go. All right, another wild and crazy coaster running in at 1,400 meters of track. Good googly moogly. Now, I have been running a lot of these at nighttime by default because the creator has all their screenshots are at nighttime, opened up the park at nighttime. I feel like they intended this to be a nighttime experience, and as you can see, there's a lot of work gone into that. Each of the areas is almost themed by color. I am getting a little bit lost. Like, this is obviously like a jungle theme, and we see a lot of green here. This has got some kind of crazy city modern style going on, and we came from almost like a hellish landscape with some blues and reds in there. So I'm not exactly sure or sold exactly on the theming. We get a mix of things because of all the little different random blueprints and stuff. We saw some pirate over in the red area. You know, it's getting a little bit chaotic, but it's still fun. And if we're going by color, that can work too. That can work too. We went down here and we came back up. I'm just double checking to make sure that there's no... I'm not going down there. This big black tunnel. All right. Well, I guess that's the jungle area. Like I said, I want to make sure we hit all these rides. This Main Street looks really nice. Look at that. A little bit of a mishmash here because we have Western right next to Modern. Okay. Look at that. Wow. I mean, you done one thing really well, and that is by making your coasters look epic and monumental from a distance. Oh, the medieval pendulum. That was a ride skin contest submission. I want to say that this was for one of our Channel 5 gaming contests. I can't remember the exact creator off. I mean, it's been 3 years, so, but I definitely recognize that one. Cool, but I definitely recognize it. Fire truck coming through that building there. Wow. Yeah, you're definitely good at making some big, monumental, epic landmarks in the distance, making you go, oh, let's go over there. Let's ride that. That looks exciting. Let's check this out. And is this a coaster or a flat ride? I feel like there's going to be a flat ride in here. Yes. Okay. Ooh, the frame rate is so tough. So I want you to try to focus in on some of those things that you did right, and that is making these big landmarks, these exciting vistas, and things that are off in the distance that are calling us to go explore, but try to narrow down that scope. Maybe in the future, whether you do a singular coaster or participate in a contest, we could talk more about the specifics of an individual coaster or an individual mini park and try to provide some feedback there. As of right now, I feel like there's so much going on that talking about it for any given time is just going to eat into the time where we have so many rides to check out. And that should be the focus of the episode, because this is pretty gnarly, and it's been a while since I've seen anything like this. So we're going on Millennium, another coaster from the looks of it. That is the actual queue, but it doesn't look like it's presenting much. So we're just gonna pop on in, and here we go. More of that crazy lighting. Millennium Star, another torque launched. We're gonna close it down, open her up, delete the path, and get right on it. There's a look at the stats if you want to see them. A little crazy on the G-forces there. Let's go. Wow. I gotta say, one thing that really impresses me about this creator's vision is exactly that, their ability to capture these really epic, gnarly visuals and really take that coaster beyond the limits and push the limits and do some really amazing stuff with it. I mean, we were all over the place with that coaster and going in and out of mountains and through and under buildings and all over the place, and it really sets a lot of visuals. Again, I highly recommend this creator check out some of our contests, because when you put yourself in constraints and you're limited to one project and one coaster only, I'd really love to see what you can do when you spend all that time on one vision, because each of these coasters have massive visions and crazy things, but that last 10% of refinement and polish is definitely missing just a little bit. And if you just I mean, and it's at this point, it's just beyond difficult to work in these constraints in terms of the optimization of the game engine. I'm like, wow, if you just focused on just one, what would that look like? And that's exactly what our contests are about, and I would love to see what you come up with there. This is really cool. Definitely the vision of these coasters and the experiences are some of the craziest I've seen all year. Like, this is just wild and zany. Was that our 5th coaster? I can't remember. I was trying to count them in my head. That's either our 4th or 5th coaster. I know we have 13 to ride here, so I definitely want to find the entrance to the next coaster and get moving along. I can't seem to find it, so what I'm going to do, it might be through one of these doorways. Khalifa is the next one, and it's a Typhoon Barghest. We're going to throw this in test mode. There's a look at the results, and let's get right on it. I'm going to go middle seat for this guy. Holy good googly moogly. Did you guys see the park from the top of that coaster and how many freaking lights are in this park? That might actually be what's killing the frame rate. I'm curious to know if this was a daytime park and you deleted all the lights, how would it be running then? But it is still end to end to end. I highly doubt that the lights are causing this much of a hit, but there's so many spotlights and searchlights, and yeah, there's just so many lights. And the creator did focus on the nighttime lighting in the screenshots, as I said, so I'm assuming I'm doing it justice by checking out most of these coasters, if not all of them, at nighttime, and it really is quite something special. There's just, I appreciate the color bomb actually in this case, because every area's got almost like a theme to it with the lighting. The coaster tracks have been lit up all the way through. That takes a lot of patience and time. Yeah, it's cool. Now, the little in-between areas like we're seeing here could use a little bit of polish, and that's kind of where I hope to see your focus is next time when you scale down the scope. Scale down the scope just a little bit. That way we can spend a little bit more time creating our own custom blueprints. This is another one I remember from Blueprint Spotlight. That was one of our featured episodes. I'm seeing a lot of nostalgia in this park. I mean, you went to the workshop and downloaded a lot of the creations that we have featured. You said you've been following the show for 8 months, so you would have came to the show after Blueprint Spotlight. We stopped doing Blueprint Spotlight 2 years ago, and it's something that we're looking to bring back for streams, but we still have to play around with that idea. So I don't want to make any promises or anything, but it's something that we're looking into, and it would be a joy to bring that series back. I think we had oh, I remember this one too, Hilbert Hotel. This was a little ride spotlight. Yeah, that is a drop tower, but I think this is on the channel if you want to look it up and ride it. So what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, Blueprint Spotlight. We had 55 episodes. And I think it actually started off like when I first started the channel as Workshop Wednesday, Hollywood Tower. I feel like I've featured this one as well. That's really cool. So we got this like whole little Hollywood section. Wow. Look at all the lights. My goodness. More of the Homer shops. Jesus. Wow. The Munsters Studio Tour. Is this a coaster? It is. Let's throw this one in test mode. So what do we have here? We have a Copperhead Strike. There's, look at all the stats. Let's get on it. Wow. While the coasters might be a little bit extreme and radical and zany at times, I'm definitely impressed by how much visuals you've actually put into them. And I think you had a lot of fun with this, and it is fun to watch them. It's different. It's a fun change of pace than what we see with these ultra realistic parks and stuff. This is just someone getting into Planet Coaster and having a good old time, not really concerning themselves about, like, you know, the most realistic park ever, just going crazy with the lights, going crazy with the coasters. And those coasters are jam-packed full of triggered events and all sorts of crazy things, and you know, just placing things down from the workshop and having a good old time, and I appreciate that. I also recognize this build here, or what's left of it. Yeah, there's so much nostalgia and different things that I'm recognizing here. Pretzel and Mango presents. Okay, there you go. Pretzel and Mango Tango built this. That's cool. It's a mishmash of blueprints for sure, and a lot of ones that I recognize. All right, so I'm looking at the time here. We still have so much. There's this whole area back here. So I'm going to have to jump around a little bit. Did we go on this coaster? Is it in test mode or is it open? Okay, Millennium Star. Good, okay. I thought that was the one we went on. We're going to jump over here. I think we've either done 6 or 7 coasters by now, and I want to try to hit them all in this episode. So we have this whole western area here, and looks like we have a mine train canyon runner, or is that a coaster track on top of a coaster? No, it's just a mine train. It's broken down. Ugh. Maybe we'll go back to that one in a minute. The pink area. Pink for western. Interesting. Or wait, now it's changed. We're no longer in western anymore. We're in Candyland. What in the world? What is happening here? Okay. What? Whoa. Okay. There's a Flight of the Dragon here. Little junior coaster. Let's throw this one into test mode. There's a look at the results. And I think we're going to do track view for this one because we don't want the dragon in the way. All right, would you look at that? One of the smaller coasters, but definitely smooth experience the whole way through. Great banking, great turns. A little bit smaller in scope, but because of that, you were able to really focus in on the scenery and the control of the coaster. And it's actually a very, very good and tame kiddie coaster experience. Quite like it. Quite like a good kiddie coaster. What do we have over here? I'm gonna do this. We'll see a lot of the scenery from the POV of the coasters. Oh, that one's, they're all breaking down. They're so big they're breaking down. Is this one still broken down? Oh, that is a train ride. Wayama. Let's check this out. What do we have here? F25 drive tire launch coaster, and we're just gonna jump into them from here and try to soak up the scenery from the top down view. And I want to make sure we hit all the coasters, so we're just gonna hit the ride list up and make sure we get all these coasters. Boom, there she is. And you know what? We've seen a lot of nighttime, and I know that's what the creator intended most of it to be. At least that's what I believe. They didn't actually ask for a preference in the submission form. But hey, you know, why don't we check some of these out during the daytime as well? Has any of these been repaired? Nope. What about you? Nope, that's not the right coaster. The Hollywood we went on. Where's this mine train coaster? Still broken down. I have mine set to never break down, so I think this creator actually had them broken down when they saved the file, and they're still not fixed. Okay, we got the Whirlwind. There's like the stats. Should be a spinning coaster. Let me see here. Yes, it is. Well, let's try the spin out. Okay, we're gonna go to the ride list, hit them up there, just so we don't miss any of them. So Overgrowth is a dive coaster. We have not been on that. Let's check it out. And we definitely want to sit in seat view for this, and in the middle seat, and experience that dive. Whoa! Wow, that was really quite wild and crazy. Okay, what do we have? We have Victory 1. That's going to be a flat ride. Copperhead Strike, we did go on. Alexandria. Looney Turns Crazy 1. I don't remember this one. No, that's in between these two gigantic coasters. Somehow we missed it. The queue must be underground somewhere. So it's an extreme family coaster. Let's see. Let's check it out. That is pretty extreme. If I had kids, I'm not sure if they'd want to go on that one. All right, let's keep plugging away at this park list. We did see Alexandria. We did see Titanium. It's a ghost train. I actually want to say that this is a blueprint. Yes, I featured this. Pretty sure I featured this 100%. So we're going to skip on that one because it's already been seen before. A lot of these are blueprints from the workshop. Flat rides, flat rides, flat rides, quick draw, shooting ride. We're going to skip on the shooting ride because I don't think I'm actually going to be able to shoot anything. There's a look at the layout there. I won't be able to shoot anything because the frame rate's too low. Into the Jungle is the giant jungle coaster. The River Rapid is just for show. It's just aesthetics. Flat ride, flat ride, flat ride, flat ride. Lots of flat ride. Gondola Adventura. Four-seated inverted rival coaster. Wait, that's next to the one in the jungle. We have not seen this one. We have not been on the inverted coaster. There's a look at the stats. 1,300 meters in length. Another doozy. Cool. All right, quite a fun adventure inverted coaster. Let's keep plugging away at the ride list here. Adventure Khalifa, we did go on. And the Copper's Creek, Gold Fever, Swift Drifters, Tricky Plays Game, Princess Emily. Oh, that's Tricky Plays Games go-kart track. That's another YouTuber shout out to Tricky Plays Games. You could probably find that exact ride on their YouTube channel. Bowser's go-karts. Wow, I remember this from our one of our contests, Bowser's Castle go-karts. The Dragon's Maw is still not repaired, and there are mechanics in this park. Let me see if I can drop a repairman at the gates of the coaster. I'll drop freaking 5 of them. One of you guys fix this damn thing. And what about our canyon runner? Still broken down. Let's see if we could drop a mechanic. Okay, one of you guys please fix this. Some of you are not getting dropped in the right position. Looks like he's gonna get on there and fix it. Back to our management screen. There's so many rides, flat rides. Wendigo. I don't think we went on the Wendigo. It's a super tiny coaster. I think I've seen this one. Super tiny. We're skipping that guy. Another blueprint from the workshop. Okay, Wayama we did go on. All right, so it looks like the 2 major coasters that we're missing out on are the ones being repaired. Dragon's Maw is now repaired, so let's get on it. And I think we'll do, we'll sit in seat view for this. Okay, hold the phone. This Dragon's Maw was Coaster Spotlight episode 642. This was created by Jock, this creation right here. So I'm wondering how many of these coasters the creator actually made. And with that, I think we're gonna skip the log flume because I don't know if it's actually their log flume. And we're running low on time and we wanna check out the Canyon Runner. So Gold Fever 1, Mine Train Coaster, let's check it out. Okay, I just want to check one thing real quick. I think we're going to cut it off there in terms of riding coasters and talk about it here. The pros and cons of the park and what you did right. I think, you know, you've done some pretty monumental, epic stuff, and the nighttime lighting stands out as very unique. I'm assuming some of these bigger coasters you have created yourself, because they wouldn't even be possible blueprints on the workshop with all the terraforming and the exploration aspects. They just don't seem like workshop blueprints or coasters that were uploaded. It seems like something you built yourself. So there's a lot of things that you handcrafted and hand designed yourself. The nighttime lighting can be actually quite magnificent from certain angles from certain coasters. So I definitely give you hats off to you for the nighttime lighting, some of the exploration aspects, having lots of triggered events, lots of epic moments, and really crazy fun adventure exploration style coasters. Now, doing an end-to-end mega park like this, it's really okay sometimes, and what the bigger creators are doing now, the more experienced legends of the communities, as you guys have seen in the past few weeks, and some of the ones done this year, and even Frozen Coasters by Kitsch, which was Park of the Year last year. They provide 60 FPS cheat engine rendered videos for their coasters because they want them to be presentable, because they know that their park doesn't run the best. So when you start to getting to these crazy sizes, you only want to get to these crazy sizes if you're capable of providing those 60 FPS coaster experiences, and if your park is of that legend builder quality to make it worth the whiles per se. Not that this wasn't legend quality. I mean, there's certain legendary aspects of it, but you're currently an unranked builder, so we don't even know what's on the rest of your workshop. However, the downsides to this mega park is, I would say 80% of the stuff here is not created by the creator. It's all from the workshop, and it's all stuff that's been seen in my contests, in my blueprint spotlights, and even my coaster spotlights. So in some ways, it's like, well, you're taking things that we've already, all of us have seen on the show already, and just putting them into one park. All the things that aren't yours, if you remove them, suddenly the park would run at a pretty feasible rate. So what I'm getting at here is only build what is necessarily yours, especially if you're, you know, on your workshop page, you haven't credited a single person on here. So I mean, the creator of this coaster, for example, should be credited somewhere on your workshop page. Otherwise, we're going to assume that you made this. But I'm quickly able to recognize, we even saw Pretzel and Kevin's name on a billboard somewhere. All the go-kart rides were taken from the workshop. And it's like, well, I don't mind people using blueprints to build their parks. I mean, that's what the workshop is there for, right? And it's meant to help the community grow and build things. But the problem is, a lot of your main attractions are from the workshop, and they are only hindering the frame rate. So when you're taking a bunch of things off the workshop, shops and flat rides and things like that, that's fine, because those are generally like things that we're not going to be riding. And finally, we're not really looking at this park of like, okay, you made everything, this is your creation because you downloaded everything, so we're judging you on design. How good is your path work? How good is your foliage work? How good is your terrain work? And in some of those areas, you know, we're forgetting about those. So if you're going to download so many blueprints and you're going to place them, that is going to do 80% of the work for you. And the last 20% is on you to focus on the path work and focus on how that all connects together. And those are some of the areas that we saw were lacking. In some ways, this is almost like a community collab put together and presented by this creator, Straps Sangabi, or in the submission form, Kevsond. Kevsond is the kind of designer and the placer of these, but then also created their own coasters on top of it. So we do know we created some of those coasters. So to kind of finalize my thoughts on this is, if you guys are going to do mega parks, ask yourself, is the frame rate worth it if half of it isn't my own? Therefore, you could have a very feasible park that's running at a smooth frame rate that's 100% your own. I think that would, in the end, make for a better experience, because we'd be looking at your work and at a better FPS. That's kind of my conclusion, my thoughts on this, but I still think the experience as a whole was pretty monumental and pretty epic, and with what you use from the workshop, you've created some pretty crazy views and vista points. Boom, that's my overall thoughts on Carowinds Europe. What did you guys think? Leave your comments down below. I believe we rode all the coasters. If I missed one, my apologies. But that is going to wrap it up for me in today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.